As soon as tomorrow, President Biden is expected to unveil his latest effort to broaden student loan relief. This comes nearly a year after the United States Supreme Court foiled his administration's first attempt to cancel debt for millions who attended college. Mr. Biden's expected to offer details on his plan tomorrow near the campus of the University of Wisconsin. For more on the Biden student loan handouts, let's welcome my guest today, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton. Tom, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So the Supreme Court said no go the first time. What do you make of attempt number 2?
Well, there's another election coming. The first round was in 2022. He needed votes then, and he needs votes now. And earlier this year, remarkably, the president said the Supreme Court blocked it, meaning his new plan for student loan relief, but it won't stop me. So here he's creating a constitutional crisis, A, by ignoring the Supreme Court, and spending upwards, depending on how you count the numbers, of $450 billion without congressional authorization. This is kind of a threat to democracy in ways my guess is the progressives won't want to admit.
Assuming the Supreme Court says no once again, then does he campaign against the conservative-led court?
I don't know. I suspect he just will lend and continue to push and pretend that he's doing something for students with debt or college graduates with debt. Right now, it's already in court. I think 11 states have sued to stop this from happening. But it highlights that this president doesn't seem to care about the rule of law. I mean, the Supreme Court told him 6-3, you can't spend this type of money without authorization. So the idea that he can take billions of dollars that someone else owes and just have the taxpayers pay for it with the stroke of a pen is anathema to our constitutional republic. The Congress is supposed to authorize this type of spending, and the fact that it hasn't should at least stop the president from doing it. And I can't imagine a Supreme Court isn't going to intervene and stop this pretty soon.
Right. Folks on Capitol Hill love to remind you they have the power of the purse. Okay, then there's the legal cases involving former President Trump. The one known as the hush money case expected to start a week from tomorrow. What do you make of that case?
Well, the president faces a difficult challenge up in New York. It's a jury pool that is unfriendly to him, a court that's unfriendly to him, and obviously the Soros-backed prosecutor up there has it in for him. This is an extraordinary case, a new application of the law, arguably an application of law that ought not to survive scrutiny, but in the meantime, he's got to go through this process. So if I were betting, I'd be betting that he's going to get convicted, however outrageous that would be. And to me, what we're seeing is just election interference happening in the courtrooms.
The courtroom calendar is busy in the midst of a presidential campaign. We have a graphic to show our audience. I mentioned the New York hush money trial set to start April 15th on tax day. You got the classified documents one May 20th. Election interference has been postponed. Supreme Court Trump immunity arguments April 25th. The National Convention July 15th to the 18th. Lots going on. Do any of these cases particularly concern you, Tom, and should they concern the Trump team?
Well, to the degree it requires him to focus on anything other than the campaign, it ought to be concerning. There's significant money at issue here. It costs a lot of money to defend against all these cases. It does distract from the campaign necessarily, and it limits his speech. It limits his freedom, arguably. And for that to be happening to a presidential candidate, let alone the leading presidential candidate, is something we've never seen before in America. So who knows how it's going to turn out. If he gets convicted, is he going to be sentenced before the election? Is he going to face the prospect of jail before the election up in New York as a result of this crazy case that's being pursued now? Who knows?
The hush money one might be shaky, but is there one that concerns you in terms of perhaps the merits of it?
Well, you know, I don't see anything substantive here. You've got the Biden administration in Fulton County trying to jail him based on arguments about the election. And down in Miami, of course, Judicial Watch was raised, our name was raised in vain, and my name was raised in vain over this presidential records case, which the Biden administration's special counsel Hur said, well, you know, Joe Biden can't be prosecuted in part because he has a good defense that presidents had a right to these records. It's not a defense they're allowing President Trump, or they don't want to allow President Trump to pursue. So I think all those cases are weak, but it's the process that's the killer.
Tom Fitton, thanks so much for your time and your analysis today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mike.